Hello and welcome to UMD News for this hour. I am Shmelles ገብረሚካኤል. In the headlines, Tigray region says Eritrea deploying new army units into Tigray. Gurage zone's lingering request for statehood causes another stay-at-home protest in zonal capital. Two key challenges for lasting Ethiopia-Tigray peace: disarmament and humanitarian aid. Now we'll move into the news in details. We invite you all to stay with the program. In the meantime, please do not forget to like and share our programs and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is UMD News with me, Shmelles ገብረሚካኤል, coming to you live via Horn Broadcasting Services, HBS, and through other social media platforms. First up, Tigray region says Eritrea deploying new army units into Tigray. According to a statement issued by the regional government on Saturday, Eritrea continues to send military reinforcement to the Tigray region despite the recent peace agreement. Sudan Tribune recalled that earlier this month, the Ethiopian government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front TPLF agreed to a ceasefire as a first step to ending the two-year conflict. In a statement issued on Saturday, the Tigray Communications Affairs Office said Eritrean troops continued to commit horrific atrocities against the people of Tigray. Sudan Tribune quoted the Tigray Media Office as saying that after the signing of the peace agreement in South Africa and Kenya, Tigray hoped the constitution would be respected, hostilities would cease, and Eritrean forces would withdraw from Tigray. However, Eritrea is deploying more forces to Tigray and has intensified all types of atrocities after the peace agreement, read the statement. Instead of withdrawing its forces from Tigray, the Eritrean regime, who is not happy with the signed peace agreement, is sending new army units into Tigray territory and committing countless atrocities against our people, the statement said. According to the statement, even after the peace agreement, Eritrean soldiers continued to commit sexual assaults, killings, massacres, and property looting. The Eritrean forces are committing sexual assaults and violence against women in its worst form, brutally massacring civilians, and are looting and taking the resources and properties of the people and government of Tigray in vehicles to Eritrea while destroying and burning what cannot be taken. Tigray's heritage, including ancient relics and artifacts of Tigray, is also being looted or destroyed on a large scale by the Eritrean army, according to this same statement. The regional government urged the Ethiopian government and the international community to take strong action to stop the ongoing widespread atrocities and to effect the withdrawal of the Eritrean forces. Therefore, the Ethiopian government and the international community must immediately stop the atrocities and injustices being committed by the dictator Isaias Afwerki against Tigray and its people. The regional government of Tigray called on the international community, especially the African Union, the United Nations, the United States, and the European Union to take tougher action against the regime. Meanwhile, Eritrean forces on Saturday summarily gunned down 63 civilians in Tigray at Adi Jagano locality in Agala district, witnesses and regional officials said. Among the victims, 10 were children aged between 6 months and 5 years old. Some are members of the same family. 4 members of the single household were among the fallen. An eyewitness said the occupying Eritrean units ordered the villagers to come to a compact space before shooting at them. It is to be recalled that UMD media has reported this news, and we are lately realizing that the regime in Asmara is not happy about the peace deal reached between the government of Ethiopia and Tigray, and continued to recruit armed forces from the Amhara and Afar regional states to serve the regime, continue its mercenary visions and genocidal acts in Tigray. Gurage Zone's lingering request for statehood causes another stay-at-home protest in zonal capital. Residents in Walqite City, the capital city of the Gurage Zone in the Southern Nations, Nationalities and Peoples State SNNP regional state have staged yet another protest by boycotting routine activities in the city and its environs, which included suspending civil service works and business activities. According to Addis Standard Media, similar protest of boycott was held by residents of Walqite on the 9th of August, shortly after the submission of the 4th August by SNNP Regional State Council to the House of People's Federation, a cluster of 10 zones and 6 wardas in the SNNP region to be restructured in 2 additional regional states out of the existing SNNP region. It followed after their respective council of zones and special wardas approved the request over the weekend of the 31st of July. However, the Gurage Zone Council had from the get-go opposed to the restructuring. It was seeking its regional status, which it tabled as far back as November 2018. According to various reports on local media, last week's protest of boycott is a continuation of the zone's rejection the federal government cluster restructuring arrangement, which would see a new regional state emerging out of the SNNP region. Residents of the city told DW Amharic over the phone that this last week's strike was peaceful except for a minor scuffle between security forces and some youth who were burning tires in some parts of the city. Residents said that all government and commercial organizations in the city were closed except for the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia. Gurage Zone's continued rejection of the new restructuring has seen zonal and bureau officials who favor the zone's position detained in the last few months. In late August, Addis Standard reported the detention of the Zonal Finance Bureau office, Manower Hayatu, Government Communications Affairs official, Mehrati Waldemariam, Ababa Amerga, Zonal Enterprise and Industry Development Bureau official, and Ajamel, Vice Dean of Walqite Polytechnic College. And finally, we will look into the report appeared on All Africa News late last week, entitled 2 Key Challenges for Lasting Ethiopia-Tigray Peace, Disarmament and Humanitarian Aid. The northern Ethiopian region has been the center of a battle for control between the Tigray People's Liberation Front TPLF, which led the country's previous government, and the current administration of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed since November 2020. The conflict has become what the World Health Organization Director Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, whose family originated from Tigray, recently described as a health crisis for more than 6 million people, and one the world is not paying attention to. Between 385,000 and 600,000 have been killed since the conflict began, with war, rape being a daily threat for women and girls. Despite tensions, hope remains for peace after a truce was brokered between the TPLF and the Ethiopian government by South Africa. So said Webster Zambara, senior project leader on the Peace Building Interventions Program at the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation, shortly named as IJR. Speaking to Radio 786, Zambara said that new mediations and negotiations were made at high level, and they involved former President Olusegun Obasanjo of Nigeria, Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, and former Vice President of South Africa, Phumzile Mlambo Ngcuka. Signing the truce was the most important thing since November marks 2 years since the start of the war, Zambara said. Resolution to end the conflict has been fraught with failed peace talks, with the later half of the 2022 presenting escalated hostilities following a brief spell of peace. During August, Tigrayan forces accused the central government in Addis Ababa and Eritrean troops of launching what they call a large-scale offensive. The government in Addis Ababa, however, claimed the Tigrayan forces initiated the offensive. As a result, about 574,000 people in Afar, Amhara and Tigray were displaced when the fighting resumed, according to Relief Web. This ended a 5-month truce between the Tigray forces and the government, prompting a group of 35 local civil society organizations to issue a joint statement calling for peace in Ethiopia. In September 2022, talks of a possible ceasefire were left in doubt after airstrikes reportedly killed 10 people in the capital of Tigray region. A total of 24 months conflict has left a major impact on the population. Thousands have died. 1 million people or more have had to migrate to the United Arab Emirates, UAE. Zambara said, noting a rapid rise in internally displaced people, IDPs as well. In the Tigray region, the humanitarian crisis is even more pronounced, according to Zambara, and echo similar concern made by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. The body framed the catastrophic effects on the human life by noting that 9 billion people across Tigray, along with the Afar and Amhara region, are in extreme need of food aid. The November truce is quite important, as another agreement was signed on the implementation of the truce, and this was done in Kenya, he said. Zambara said that the challenge now was the addressing of the two particular issues, disarmament and humanitarian aid, the latter being of more vital importance. With regard to disarmament, Zambara said that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed insisted that TPLF lay down their arms first. Zambara also said the additional unknown factor of the Eritrean army's withdrawal from hostilities. The other issue that is nothing is being said by Eritrea's army, which was also fighting on the side of the Ethiopian government, is each going withdrawal. How soon are they going to disarm? It all boils down the government structure of Ethiopia, said Zambara. Going to add, Ahmed's ascent to power in 2018 was predicted on a desire for centralized system of government. This, however, has been prime motivator of resistance by the Tigrayan people, who feel that the power of 3-decade period of independent rule is waning. Viewers and listeners, with that, we come to the end of the news for today. This has been UMD Media News with Bishmelles Marissa. UMD program comes to you via Horn Broadcasting Service and through different social media outlets like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Please do not forget to like and share our programs and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching and have a good one.